Okay, so I'm going to be talking about a little bit about the weather on 2026 because last year we had a lot of volcanic activity. And what does that mean with plate tectonics? Well, just because we have a lot of volcanic activity, a lot of celestial alignments on 2025, that could shift a lot of the tectonic plates. But I'm mostly going to focus more on what's going to happen in 2026. Pretty much on 2026, we have the volcanoes erupting, a lot of geological activity happening, a lot of spewing of volcanic dust in the upper atmosphere. And what is that going to do? Is that going to affect anything in 2026? Well, for the most part, if the tectonic activity keeps on going, as of right now, there's going to be a lot of volcanic dust that is going to be thrown into the upper atmosphere. And when that blocks sunlight from coming in or out, mostly in, that is going to prevent a lot of the heat from being absorbed. So, what the Coriolis effect, which that's what I was trying to drawn in the map right there, is that is gonna pretty much suck in all that volcanic ash, because that's how the upper winds kind of rotate. That's why you get hurricanes. So, pretty much the volcanic ash, I believe, is gonna accumulate in the center of the big oceans, the Pacific and the Atlantic and the South Atlantic. I forget what they call the North and South Atlantic, but I drew a dot pretty much. And what is that gonna do? Well, it's gonna prevent a lot of the sunlight, especially in the summer, from heating up the oceans. So that could cause kind of like a reverse of what has been happening in a couple of years with global warming. Pretty much because of the CO2 is not heating up the atmosphere, but that could mean that the whole planet could lower the temperature. I mean, it's gonna make it pretty chill summer. I hope. I do hope that it's gonna get warmer, but not as cold. It's not as cold as next year's winter is gonna be, because when the summer hits and we're already going to March already, we're about to go to March, and all that ash is still in the atmosphere. So that is preventing a lot of the oceans from heating up. So don't know how long is it going to stay up there, because don't know how active it's going to stay on the geological world, because they could stay pretty active the whole entire year or not, or it could erupt again next month. So next year's winter could be an incredibly bad sign that it's gonna come in early and it's gonna hit pretty cold, kind of like what has been hitting right now, but worse. Depending on how long the dust kind of stays in the upper atmosphere. So you can see I drew a line of the lotus effect on, I don't know what they call it right now, but I believe that's the boundary between the boundary of the temperatures. If you're in the equator, it stays warmer. If you're in the north, it gets colder. So it's like kind of like a boundary that heating up and cooling effects. So Atlantic is gonna hit the East Coast, and it's probably gonna be pretty chill summer. But come winter, if hopefully there's not gonna be another major eruption that's gonna speed out a lot of volcanic dust, but you can see like a very uh, low temperature uh, ocean winds coming into the east coast. So winters could be a whole lot more because it's not circulating, or that heat is not circulating because the equator stays warm pretty much year round, and it's not circulating. That heat is getting cooled down because it's preventing it. So that would mean come winter in North America, that would actually make things pretty chill. Pretty much, and yeah, but it's probably gonna mean a lot worse on the European side. Like if you're in South America, the rotation is reversed, so you have like a lot of Arctic air going into the equator and getting warmed up, and then you have the equator air going into the South America there. So for Africa, that would probably, like South Africa would probably get like a lot of cold temperatures, and yeah, same thing for South America as well, and Australia too, because that's usually it's reverse. So all that Arctic air goes up there, uh, and into the equator, and the equator kind of comes in uh, opposite. So it comes into South America from the equator and warming up Chile and all that stuff. So in the Pacific, same thing. On the Pacific side, on the North American part, it's just gonna be a very cold winter on the things like states like Alaska and Michigan, I believe, and Ohio. Those northern states are up there in to where like now the heat is gonna circulate, so it's just gonna bring in a lot of Arctic air from the north. So you could see probably even worse temperatures, assuming if the volcanic kind of like the volcanoes kind of cease to erupt, not cease to erupt. So in the Coriolis effect, what do you mean for ocean currents as well? Because you can see a major probably collapse in the ocean currents as well, because a lot of the oceans are not getting warmed up. It's good, so you could see probably like the opposite happening. Um, a lot of fish could migrate to a different area right now. So instead of migrating where it's a little bit more colder, they might migrate to a little bit warmer. Not a little bit warmer, but a little bit more in the equator, so you can see more fishing, less fishing. Especially in the Alaska part, is probably going to be better fishing, I guess, if the temperatures keep going. And that was pretty much it on the what I think the weather's going to be this year. This year, because a lot of plate tectonics. Hopefully, is there's like Yellowstone does not erupt. Apparently, that's in the news, and it's just kind of mess up a lot of the North American part of uh, the weather. So, uh, stay tuned. Bye.